A new era in sim racing broadcasting always begins with a vision. Hello and welcome to Grid Vision's broadcast of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series Road Course season at Watkins, Glen. Definitely excited to be here at this 2.45 mile racetrack, and definitely going to have some twisty bits. But this is one of the most classic racetracks in NASCAR history, I'd say. When you think about NASCAR racing at road courses, this is what you think about, Watkins Glen. Of course, my name is Brian Britt, and definitely excited to be here. I do have Caleb joining us here tonight. How you doing tonight, Caleb?
Doing great, Brian. Great to be here again with you for the for another Truck Series race. It's going to be great. Watkins Glen is obviously a memorable track, probably one of the best tracks on the calendar this year. So definitely excited to be here, and what's going to be a great race.
100%. Now, of course, this is not as complex of a road course as we see, I do believe, even probably less complicated than what we saw last week at the Roval, where Craig Ganzak was able to bring home a victory. Of course, looking at the track map here, see, it doesn't seem too complicated. There is, I do believe, a chicane, though, that will kind of cause some issues, and it is kind of hard to get off of that final turn coming on to the front stretch. Of course, the temperature on the racetrack right now is a pretty hot 94 degrees, which is a lot hotter than what we saw at the Roval last week. I mean, I think that was in the 60s. So definitely going to be a lot less grip, I'd say, on this racetrack, as, of course, we are in the midst of qualifying. Let's actually take a quick look at the points coming in here to tonight's race at Watkins Glen. Of course, we have 30 laps on the schedule, and here are the points up on our screens. Craig Yanzak up at the top of the board with a dominating win last week. I do believe led every lap from what I remember. Of course, Nathan Nicholson almost won that race, was really, really fast, but unfortunately had some issues in the middle of the race, which gave Tyler Meeks the second place position with only a point behind Craig Anzac. So John Lucido, of course, came in, I do believe, third for that first race. Fourth place, Steven Shepard. Fifth, Jason Taylor. Sixth, Brian Thacker. Seventh, Sheldon Pearson. Eighth, Brandon Ball. Ninth, William Mann Jr. And 10th, George Young. So those are the top 10 at the moment in points. So a lot of guys going to be, of course, this being the second race, I mean, going to be really trying to maximize the points here. This is a track that I think a lot of these guys are very familiar with for sure. So, what are your experiences with Watkins Glen, Caleb?
Yeah, Watkins Glen obviously has a couple of straights here, but obviously that back chicane after the long straight in the back, it's obviously going to be one that's going to cause a lot of problems for a lot of these drivers. Obviously, like we were talking about last week, Brian, these trucks are very hard to keep together, and they're super easy to lose a rear in these trucks. So that back chicane definitely going to be one to give problems to some of these drivers, and it's not going to be rare to see maybe one of these guys make contact there, or maybe even spin out in that back chicane.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, just like what we saw at the Roval, there are curbs as well in that chicane that could cause some issues, turtles, if you will. That's what they kind of call them. But I don't think they're quite as bad as what you'd see at the Roval, but still could definitely unsettle the truck. And you can go through there a lot faster than I think a lot of people think you can. But then again, it's almost like a tightrope coming through those areas. I mean, you got to be really careful. There's a lot of parts of this track that you're going to be wanting to be on the gas almost fully, especially through those the snake kind of corners, I guess, the twisty bits that come almost right after the front stretch. So definitely going to be looking forward to seeing what these guys are able to do out here. Like I said, everybody's fairly familiar with this track, but it looks like qualifying is starting to wrap up at the moment. It looks like I think we got our grid set here in just a moment. I think we're going to have that pulled up for us so we can see who is going to be starting from the pole. A little bit of a different running order, I do believe, from last week. So it looks like, I do believe, Nathan Nicholson, of course, was this one of the fastest, if not the fastest, last week. He's going to be starting on the pole. Kyle Holden, he's going to be starting in second place. I don't know if we saw Kyle Holden race last week, so definitely going to be interesting to see what he's able to do out here tonight. Steven Shepard, of course, going to be starting in third. Tyler Meeks, last week's second place finisher, starts in fourth. John Lucido's last week's third place finisher, he's going to be starting in fifth. James Harris in sixth, Brandon Ball in seventh, and last week's winner, Craig Nianzak, he starts in eighth place. He's going to have to definitely drive his way through the field. Of course, I do believe ninth is going to be Brad Thacker, 10th, Sheldon Pearson, 11th, William Mann Jr., and 12th, George E. Young. Of course, we see Eli Thacker there in the running order. He is actually race control here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. But as you can see, we're going to have 30 laps on the docket here for these drivers. Of course, we actually are going to have a competition cost, and that's something that kind of threw me off a little bit last week. the competition caution. Did not know that was actually going to be happening, but I did make sure to confer with the admins here of this series, and they will be having a competition caution around 13 or 14, and that should actually eliminate the need for fuel. If they won't have to do a green flag stop, so that's going to kind of decomplicate things a little bit. Or uncomplicate things, I should say. I mean, that's my South Carolina lingo there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, like we saw last week at the Roval, most of these guys don't have to stop under green. I mean, unless they have other issues. But I think tire degradation is obviously going to be a big deal here tonight. At the Roval, we didn't really see much of that because the temperature was much lower, and obviously it was a night race, obviously, like we saw last week. But it's the sun's out today, and it's going to be a great race. So obviously, the temperature's a bit higher, so these guys are really going to have to manage their tires. And like you were saying before, big surprise in qualifying. Craig Ganzak obviously wasn't as high up as we expected to see him, as he is our championship leader, but a lot of work for him to do, and I really am not counting him out yet, because as we saw, he's super consistent, and I expect to see a lot more of the same as we did last week. Hopefully we have a good race.
No, I think you're right. I think you're hitting the nail right on the head. Craig Anzak's very, very consistent. But then again, I mean, he really never did get into traffic last week. And of course, he did have a little bit of pressure from Nathan Nicholson, but traffic is going to be a big deal. Oh, somebody stopped on the grass there. I think maybe an EO will penalty possibly or something like that. Maybe some technical issues. Who is that stop back there?
Looks like Lucido. I think Lucido stopped back there. He was also a bit quick last week. He seemed to have made up some positions later on in the race. Looks like he struggled early on in last week's race at the Roval, but looks like he has problems early on here. Maybe a setup issue or internet issue. Hopefully, he can get it figured out before this race gets going, because he is obviously one to watch, as well as he was super quick as soon as the race got going last week as well.
Yeah, luckily for him, if he doesn't go a lap down, he'll be able to catch right back up as soon as that competition caution does come out. But definitely going to be interesting to see what he's able to do. And he was able to really survive the melee, and I think that's what seemed to be the key in order to get a good finish last week, was to survive. And I think that's going to be what it's all about here as we get, I do believe, through the final sets of corners here. Pace car's getting ready to actually take that left turn down pit road. Now, this is going to be one of the more interesting spots of the racetrack as well when we're actually up to speed. This corner sometimes gets a lot of people off guard. I mean, it's such a fast corner here, but there goes the pace car down pit road. And green flag is out for the first time here tonight in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Nathan Nicholson with a pretty good start, but look at Kyle Holden. He was able to really match step for step when it came to getting on that gas pedal. Now, turn one is always the most difficult corner when you're starting a road course race, but Nathan able to really sail through there very smooth. We do see, I do believe, Steven Shepard trying to possibly work on Kyle Holden. Not quite able to get there. Side by side, though, is William Mann Jr. and Brad Thacker. Of course, looks like that has kind of settled out there. Brad Thacker did get in front of William Mann Jr. and also Craig Ganzak, I do believe, is still fighting, trying to move his way up through the field in that 3 machine. He's right behind Brad Thacker at the moment. So difficult to pass at these road courses, though, wouldn't you say, Caleb?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, I think the main thing here is pretty much picking the spot to make to pick out a perfect overtake where you won't lose too much time. Looks like Ganzak going a little bit wide here. But already down into ninth. I think I believe he started in 8th. But yeah, definitely having to pick up the part. It looks like Ganzak's gonna try to make a move down the inside. He looks like he's gonna make it stick on Thacker, and he does. Looks like Pearson's gonna make the move on Thacker as well. It seems like Thacker's having a little bit of problems, maybe get a little bit uneasy. And looks like Ganzak already making up his positions like we were
William
saying
Mann
before.
Jr. around.
Ooh, Willie Mann Jr. Yeah, I think into the wall. Looks like he lost it there a little bit. Watch the replay here.
Yeah, I think he just lost it on the entry to the final corner there. See exactly what happened. Probably got onto the brakes a little too hard, had maybe too much wheel in it, and just
seems
like
that's what happened. Seems like he lost your rear. And like we were talking last week, Brian, it's very hard to keep the rear of these cars, of these trucks. I'm sorry, keeping it together. Once they go, they're pretty much gone.
100%. Looking back here at Craig Ganzak, he's starting to put some pressure here on Brandon Ball, trying to look underneath into the, I do believe, the chicane. Not quite able to get there, though, but he's definitely making some moves. He's now up to 7th place. And you talk about these trucks being kind of wily a little bit, very spin happy. Well, this is a fixed setup as well, so there's not really much you can do to alleviate that except for adjust brake bias.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, like we were talking before, it looks like Yanzek's going to size up a move on Brandon Ball. Looks like he can get it done. And oh, I'm sorry, I think that was Pearson or Childs getting into it a little bit further back. But yeah,
Wow,
definitely some of these guys. Looks like Yanzek already up the rear of Ball and Harris up the rear of Shepard. Looks like he's going to make a move down into turn one, late on the brakes, gets a little bit loose. Oh, can he save it? Keeps it together, and he collects. He collects Shepard, and that's going to open the door for Yanzek, our championship leader, up in a fourth already from the start of this race.
More issue. Brad Thacker, I do believe, just had an issue. Brad Thacker and George Young both having some contact there as well into turn one. And I said earlier when we were running down through the running order, Eli Childs was going to be race control. Looks like I was completely wrong. He's actually out there running. But here we go. We'll take a look back and see exactly what happened here. As we look at course, James Harris dives it into turn one, locks up the brakes, trying to outbrake the 13, and unfortunately slides right into the path of the 13. Nothing really Steven Shepard could have done in that situation. And this is the second incident where Brad Thacker kind of locked him up into that corner as well. And George Young went along for the ride.
Yeah, it seems like the same thing here. Two very similar incidents, like we were saying before, Brian. These guys are going to have to be hard on the brakes if they want to make an overtake down in turn one. And it seems to have already taken a couple of guys out of this race, like Ball. I mean, they're still in the race, but obviously going to take them out of contention maybe for the win here. Still very early on, though, like we were saying before, but that's just going to open the door for our championship leader, Yanzek, who is still working his way up there. As we see here, I believe this is Thacker, I don't know. This is James Harris.
This is after that. This is that first incident.
Yeah, seems like he just got a little bit loose there, trying to be latest on the brakes and last of the late breakers, like some guys may say. But yeah, it seems like he just lost the car a little bit. But that gap by Nicholson already up to 6 seconds. It seems, and seems like he's had a bit of practice this week. He was the only one to really challenge Yanzek last week at the Roval, and seems like he's already up to 6 seconds now, that gap. So obviously he's going to be one to watch today. Hopefully that competition caution brings these guys back into contention like Yanzek. Obviously want to watch our championship leader.
Yeah, I'm watching him right now, actually, and he's been faster than both Tyler Meeks and Kyle Holden, who are in second and third. So I do expect Craig Genzak's going to be moving up through this field and probably be on the podium in the next at least lap. He is catching up to Tyler Meeks quite quickly. He's only separated by now a half a second, I do believe. So I expect possibly a challenge from Craig Genzak into turn one, possibly, if he's able to utilize the draft here on this front stretch.
Yeah, that draft's also going to have a big part to play here down this main straight. The big thing is just keeping the trucks together under braking. Like we saw a couple guys already kind of making that mistake, like Thacker, and I believe it was James already making those mistakes, trying to send it a little bit deep into turn number one, and these guys just getting a little bit loose, locking up those brakes, not being able to keep these trucks together. It is very difficult, like we were saying last week, Brian. So definitely looks like Yanzek's going to try to make a move down the outside of Meek. Seems like he has cleared him for now, but can he get it done into the chicane? And he does. He's clear of Meeks. What a move by Yanzek.
Already that was a really great move. I don't know if Tyler Meeks appreciated it very much. He almost got into the rear end of Yanzek, but definitely was a veteran-style move right there. He took a move. You know, a lot of times you don't make passes into chicanes, but, I mean, he was able to really make it work. And it looks like he's going to move on to third and possibly try to chase down Kyle Holden. Of course, about 4.3 seconds separate second and third at the moment.
Yeah, it seems like Yanzek was just able to use the draft down the back straight, and he took advantage of it. Get a replay here of Yanzek. Yeah, gets in the draft of Meeks and just tries to find the opening here. Seems like Meeks is going to defend down the inside, and Yanzek just sends it down the outside. All the confidence and everything you'd expect of the championship leader. As we were talking last week, Brian, he came up short in the last championship, so he has and absolutely nothing to lose. He's going to have that fire in his belly to really get something done here and get as many points as he can.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I agree totally. I think that he was a little disappointed after last season and is definitely going to be seeing if he can't get something together here. I do want to take a moment to shout out one of our sponsors here for the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Champion Power Equipment, of course, the title sponsor. Looking for reliable and high-performance power equipment, To help you tackle any job, look no further than Champion Power Equipment. Whether you'll need a portable generator, pressure washer, or any other power tool, Champion has you covered with top-of-the-line products at an affordable price. And as a proud sponsor of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, we're excited to bring you even more power and performance on and off the track. Visit championpowerequipment.com today to learn more. Definitely appreciate them being the title sponsor. Couldn't do it without them here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series for sure. But look at that. Nathan Nicholson out to a monstrous lead, almost 9 seconds now that he has. Of course, Craig Ganzak has been steadily catching up to Kyle Holden. Now only about 3 seconds separate those two drivers. Of course, for the most part, everybody else fairly, I'd say, separated. But you do see George Young. I'd be very close to William Mann Jr. for that 11th position back there.
Yeah, it seems like both these guys are going to fight it out for that 11th place. And it looks like the 29 of William Mann Jr. just goes a little bit wide, and Young takes advantage of that, sending it down the inside into turn number 2, I believe. And yeah, he's gonna have all that draft William Mann Jr. See if he can take that spot back from Young. But yeah, as we were saying before, Yanzak.
Someone around Sheldon Pearson.
The 88 of Sheldon Pearson. That's going to open the door for Lucido and Thacker just to make their way back up the field. See what happened here. Seems like a little bit late in the braking. I'm guessing here, or maybe a little bit too much curb.
Yeah, it looks like he caught the curb too much, and it just wasn't able to turn the race car. Unfortunate there.
And as we were seeing last week, these curbs really aren't that nice to these trucks. Once they go airborne, it's really hard to keep them together, and to keep them steady and to try to save them. Oh, and it looks like Nicholson taking a whole lot of curb there. It seems like he was keeping it together. And Yanzak already bringing that gap down to Holden. He's having a great drive so far, already up 6 spots here in this race. So Yanzak obviously going to be one to watch once that competition caution comes out. As we saw last week, Nicholson and Yanzak were fighting for the lead of the race. I think Nicholson unfortunately hit that wall and was out of contention. But here we are today. We might have a little bit of a repeat of last week, and obviously going to be something to watch as I believe the 7 of Meeks now rounding out in the last couple of corners, and Meeks as well. He could be there to pick up the leftovers here again this week, Brian. As we saw last week, he picked up the leftovers of Nicholson, and it could be the same thing this week if something happens after the competition caution in the next couple of laps.
No, I think you're 100% right. I mean, it seemed like last week it came down to surviving. I mean, yeah, you might not have been the fastest guy out there, but it seemed like as long as you're able to keep that truck in one piece and on the racetrack in between the white lines, it seemed like you were able to get some positions. And I think you're right 100% as well about Craig Ganzak. Keep an eye on this 3 because, I mean, he is running faster at the moment than Nathan. So when this competition caution comes back out and they get stacked back up and the green flag comes out, I would not be surprised to see Craig Ganzak try to jump, pounce, if you will, on Nathan here. He is catching up quickly to Kyle Holden. He's about, I do believe, 0.8 of a second faster every lap, and I think in the next lap we're going to see Craig probably pounce on that 59. I mean, he's really, really close. 0.8 only separate these two drivers from second to third. Of course, for the most part, I do believe we see John Lucido as well. He's very close to Brad Thacker further back, trying to see if he can't possibly get that 8th position. They are actually side by side in the curvy portions of this racetrack.
Yeah, seems like Lucido's going to try to make a move into the chicane. Oh, and he gets it done a little bit later in the braking, I believe, but he gets a little bit loose on the exit, and it's going to be a good race here out of that chicane. And that 56 of Thacker and that 73 of Lucido. This right here is going to give the toe to Thacker. He's going to make a move down the inside. Can he get it done? And he can't. It seems like he just doesn't have the speed at the moment. Can he get it down the inside? Yeah, obviously some of these moves are obviously going to be super difficult to make as we saw.
There we go. Sorry to interrupt you. Side by side for second. Here, Craig Ganzak making a move quickly. Sorry to interrupt you there, Caleb.
Yeah. No worries. Obviously, like we were saying before, Craig Ganzak obviously is on a charge today, and that draft just helps him out even more. To get these moves done, really, and he has the pace. He's been consistent. He was consistent last week, and he's consistent this week. We're seeing him make these moves, so obviously something amazing to see by Craig Ganzak, and he's gonna take the fight to Nicholson now. Hopefully, when the competition caution comes out, gonna bring him so much closer. But that gap to the lead is coming down by the second, and that 88 of Pearson around again. Sheldon Pearson cannot catch a break tonight, and I think if he gets it around, that's as long as these guys keep it going, they should be in a shot at points if they can just keep their noses clean. Seems like he just gets a little bit loose under braking again, and this is going to be something that we're going to be seeing a lot tonight of I'm guessing, Brian.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think the tires are starting to really wear as well. I mean, we're seeing a lot of fall off. I mean, over 2 seconds from a lot of these drivers. I just saw Kyle Holden. He was actually catching up back up to Craig Ganzak and just had a moment and unfortunately went sideways. Able to keep it underneath him, but he lost a lot of time there to Craig Ganzak. But we are at that point now. I do believe tires are starting to wear out quite substantially. Now, if what they say is true, if we're going to have a competition caution at lap 13 or 14, that means we're going to probably have to go a little bit longer towards the end of this race. Now, that means we might even have worse tire wear later. So that's going to be an interesting thing to keep in mind as well, that these guys are going to be having to struggle with a car that is even worse than I think it is now.
Yeah, of course. Obviously, we got one on the wall. That 48 of Young. That 48 of Young in the wall. Seems like he got a little bit deep into braking and could not get it done. So he's in the wall already. But, man, as we were saying, turn one's causing a lot of problems. Like you were saying before, that tire degradation is not helping these guys out. Looks like we are, I believe, 2 or 3 laps out of that competition caution. Yeah, it seems like a little bit hard under brakes and just loses the rear there, locks up a little bit, and it's super hard to save these trucks. But yeah, that competition caution, I'm assuming it's going to be worse towards the end of the race, like you were saying before, Brian. So it's going to be hard to keep these trucks together. It seems like that 99 and Nicholson catching some lap traffic, and this is just going to help out Craig Ganzak to get even closer to Nicholson.
Yeah, and of course, Sheldon Pearson has already gone a lap down, so he could possibly be the lucky dog. But then again, if James Harris goes lap down, which I think he is getting ready to, that is going to put him in the lucky dog position. So that could lock Sheldon down a lap. So this is not a good thing for the 88. Seeing, a little bit of a big wiggle there from Nathan trying to make the pass there on Harris. It looks like he does keep it underneath them. Caution is out. I do believe that is going to be our competition caution. And, of course, we'll go ahead and do a quick rundown through the field now that the caution flag has flown. Nathan Nicholson out in front. Craig Ganzak in second place. Biggest mover by far. Kyle Holden in third. Tyler Meeks in fourth. Brandon Ball fifth. Steven Shepard sixth. Eli Childs is in seventh. John Lucido's in eighth. Ninth, Brad Thacker, I should say. 10th, William Mann Jr. 11th, George Young. 12th, James Harris should be able to get that lap back. And Sheldon Pearson rounds out this 13-car field. With that, these guys are going to be going ahead and doing a yellow flag pit stop, get a new set of shoes on these race cars. And we'll be right back with some more racing action here with the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series presented by Grid Vision.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Grid Vision's presentation of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series Road Course Mini Season, as we are tackling Watkins Glen 30 laps, and it's definitely been an exciting race thus far. Of course, we saw Craig Yanzak making huge moves through the field, started in, I do believe, 8th place, fell to 9th immediately, and then all of a sudden drove his way up to 2nd place, has been showing considerable speed, able to possibly catch up here to Nathan and do some battle. I think this is going to be round 2 of their fight last week. Of course, I do want to take a moment to shout out another one of Champion Power Equipment Truck Series sponsors here, Green Mountain Grills. We all love barbecue. I know I sure do. Green Mountain Pellet Grills are top-of-the-line quality grills for all of your grilling needs. Green Mountain Grills also offers the highest quality dry rubs, sauces, and pellets, but not at the highest price. Customers enjoy the best possible grilling experience without breaking the bank. Visit either one of their 1,000 locations across the U.S. or visit them at greenmountaingrills.com for online purchases, recipes, and much more. I do believe the pace car lights should be going out this time by, and we're going to restart the race in action here. What are your thoughts, Caleb? What do you think we're going to see here?
I think we're going to see Craig Yanzak really going to try to size up and move into turn number 1 or into that back chicane. As we were talking before, Brian, Craig Yanzak seems to have a lot of pace. Seems like at the end of that first stint, I'm guessing before the competition caution came out, we saw Craig Yanzak really cutting down that gap to Nate Nicholson. So obviously going to be Craig Yanzak going to be one to watch. He started further back on the field, but at the moment he has a podium position. If these guys can really keep it clean and keep it together, and if they don't take each other out, then they're obviously gonna finish this race off. I'm thinking Craig Yanzak's gonna slingshot into the lead, but obviously Nate Nicholson not one to count out this early. He was super quick on those on the new set of tires when the tires were fresh at the beginning of this race. So definitely up in the air at the moment, but Craig Yanzak want to watch our championship leader here.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely very fast on the new tires. I agree. I mean, looking at his best lap time, 1:12.597, which is almost a half a second better than Craig Yanzak. But I don't think that's what's really going to be important. I think that, yeah, it could give him a little bit of breathing room earlier, but if Craig does the right thing and saves the tires, he's going to be right there with him whenever it hurts, or whenever he, whenever Nathan doesn't need it the most, I'd say. But I'm excited. I can't wait to see what this looks like. Of course, these are two really excellent road course racers. Like you said, hopefully they don't take each other out. I think that's going to be the big thing, because if they do, Tyler Meeks and Kyle Holden might end up being the ones that, get the victory or possibly a nice podium. We'll have to wait and see how that all works out. Of course, James Harris looks like he is out of the race car, which is interesting. We saw him actually get the wave around after that competition caution, so that is unfortunate. That is actually kind of unfortunate for Sheldon Pearson, if you think about it, because if James Harris out of the race car, I wish Sheldon Pearson could have got that wave around, because it seems like a waste.
Yeah, of course, obviously not going to be good for Pearson. But as you were saying, last week we saw Meeks pick up those leftovers. I think after Nicholson was into the wall and out of the race, so Meeks was there to pick up the leftovers. I wouldn't be surprised to see Meeks up there again this week on the podium, obviously at the moment. But yeah, wouldn't be surprised for him to move up another position, maybe take another second place here. But I think we're about to get the green flag that the pace car is in, and we're gonna get the green flag here. Seems like Nicholson gets a great start off the line. Yanzak is not gonna get the push from Meeks behind, and seems like we're all gonna go into turn number 1, and Yanzak gonna make a move into turn number 1. Can he get it done? He does, and that's not gonna help out Nicholson. He's gonna move back into the second spot, and Craig Yanzak, take a bow. He made the move into turn number 1 like we predicted before, Brian, and he gets it done. But here we go, Nicholson back at it again on the inside of Yanzak, and Yanzak loses another position to Meeks here. They're still side by side, all to play for here. Holden brought back into play. He's going to get the toe from Meeks, and this is probably going to move Craig Yanzak all the way down to 4th, and Nicholson gets lucky here, really takes advantage. I don't know what happened to Yanzak there, if he got a little bit wider, maybe a little bit loose, but he moves down to 4th. He had to move into turn number 1 like we predicted, but man, what a restart we've had here so far. But Yanzak's going to really have to work his way back up here.
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean, he went from being in the lead to 4th place. Now it's going to be seeing if he can't work his way back up to 3rd. I wonder if possibly, like you said, he could have got loose, or maybe he was in the wrong gear there. As we take a replay here and we watch this restart, it was definitely fantastic. I mean, Craig didn't get going very well, but I think that he wanted that to be the case. I think Nathan kind of late braked into turn 1, a little bit of a wiggle there on the gas pedal, but I think that he was expecting Nathan to kind of drive it deep, and he took advantage of it.
Yeah, it looks like
A little bit of contact there, too, after the fact.
Yeah, it seems like Yanzak just got the move done in a turn number 1, and we're about to see what happened here. Seems like he maybe got a little bit loose under curving, and I don't think so. I think just Nicholson just had a much better exit and a much better run. Oh, it looks like Yanzak hits the wall there too on the exit of that corner, and he just gets eaten up here as I believe Holden gets the draft from Meeks ahead and really gets swallowed up by Meeks and Holden there. And obviously hitting the wall it didn't help him out at all. So he's gonna make a move down the inside on Holden, see if he can get his rhythm back here. Craig Yanzak, like we said before, he is super consistent. He's able to put these lap times down, but now he has to catch Nicholson. Obviously, that gap isn't as big as it was early on in the race, but definitely on a play for, and he has some traffic to work through. And it seems like Nicholson, like we were saying before, he is super quick on these fresh tires, but it's all going to come down to the end of the race if he can really keep that pace up.
100%. Craig Yanzak has gotten by Kyle Holden and moves up into third place. And one thing about these trucks, they're very vulnerable to damage. I mean, you can already see, I do believe he's got a little bit of damage on his right and left side. So that is going to affect the aero of that race truck. It looks like it's not holding it back too much, but we'll have to wait and see how that affects it. I mean, because, even a little bit of damage can affect also your tire wear in the long haul. So we'll have to wait and see how that kind of all works out. Of course, Craig now starting to put pressure on the 7 of Tyler Meeks. If I was Meeks, if I was smart, I'd be like, I'm not going to race him very hard. I don't want to get wrecked. I mean, not to say that Craig will wreck you, but I mean, I just know how fast Craig is. I don't want no smoke.
Yeah, correct. And obviously, looks like Yanzak got a little bit loose on the exit there after that bus stop chicane. But yeah, as we were saying before, Craig is really a quick road course racer in these trucks. So obviously not one to be messed with. As at some point or later, he is super consistent and is really going to try to get these overtakes done as quickly as possible so he can charge for the lead. But Meeks, I think all he should worry about here is getting that set of points. As anything can happen for the lead of this race, as we saw before. Meeks took absolute advantage of Yanzak's, I guess, mistake earlier on. It seems like Holden's going to get the draft here from Meeks, see if he can get a move done on the inside into turn number 1. Seems like he thinks better of it and just is late in a braking. How close he got to the rear of Meeks. It seems like he's going to have a pretty good exit here. Meeks, that curb not going to help him out that much. As we saw, the curb really isn't that nice to these trucks, Brian.
Yeah, it definitely isn't. And it seems like I think Kyle's showing a lot of patience right now, a lot of wisdom. I think that he's just like, I'll sit behind Meeks, wait for him to make a mistake, wait for me to be able to pounce. I know that I don't have a car good enough to really contend with Craig or Nathan. So, I mean, I think that's what he kind of has in mind. Oh, really close there into the bus stop as they still following right behind him. I mean, Kyle Holden is looking very smooth through these corners, and he's sitting there. A lot of times when you're at a track like this, Watkins, Glen, or any road course, to be honest, I mean, you really have to race the track, and it's so easy to get caught up racing another driver and make a mistake. And I think Kyle is doing a good job of not falling victim to that.
Yeah, of course. It's obviously just picking your moves and making them in the right places. As we see, I think the 999 of Child's maybe going to try to make a move. And no, it seems like Thacker and Willie Mann Jr. going at it here. And Willie Mann Jr., or I believe that's Shepard and...
that's Sheldon Pearson there.
Sheldon Pearson, and I have no idea who he's racing at the moment. Oh, I think he's a lap down, if I'm not mistaken. So it seems like he's getting lapped there by, I believe, that the 56 of Thacker.
Yeah, unfortunately, he is a lap down, so that was not racing for position, and that is just unfortunate because we're not going to see another caution. So he's going to have to hope that someone doesn't finish this race in order to get more positions for sure. But, of course, Nathan still he's pulling away now on Craig Yanzak. I mean, last time by he was about 0.3 faster than Craig. So I expect that Nathan's in a good spot. I mean, of course, that will be really interesting to see as well. I mean, Craig dominating last week's race. Now Nathan dominating this week's race. I mean, even though Craig Yanzak did give him a good run for his money on that last restart, he still has led every single lap thus far.
Yeah, of course. And as we were saying before, he's super quick on that new set of tires. But I think it really comes into play later on in this race, maybe in the next couple 6 laps, how Nicholson can really deal with the tire degradation around here in Watkins Glen. And if Yanzak maybe is saving a little bit of tire here, who knows what a strategy may be, but it seems like these guys are just going to push all the way to the end, as I think Nicholson really has been consistent, and he's led every lap. So yeah, definitely going to be a good race to the end.
Yeah, I think if Nicholson was smart, I think that he would be like, okay, know what Craig Ganzak's lap times are. I would have someone, if he has a friend in his ear or something like that, telling him what the lap times are from Craig. I would try to see if I can't slow it down a little bit, not to burn the equipment up, just maintain the gap. Don't try to build on it. I think that would be the smartest way to do it. I mean, some of the best racers in the world, in history, have always said, I want to win the race in the slowest way possible, so I know the truck makes it or the car makes it to the end. As we do see, I do believe a little bit further back, John Lucido is starting to put some pressure on Brandon Ball here. Also, Steven Shepard as well, fairly close behind. Eli Childs, of course, right there in 8th place. So we do have about a 4-car cluster that is starting to race for position here.
Yeah, obviously here the battle for the midfield. Some of these guys really just have to finish the race here. Some of these guys got really unlucky last week. I think the big thing here is just getting as many points as they can to really get higher up in this championship. As we see, one of these cars going wide. I believe that's the 59 of Holden. Yeah, I don't know if he got loose into that into the second to last corner there, but he's going to get eaten up by I believe Ball, Lucido, Shepard. So yeah, definitely not going to be that good for him. Let's see what happened here.
I'm pretty sure that there might have been an issue with him and Tyler Meeks, possibly. I don't know. Right. Got loose all by himself.
Ooh, and I believe I don't know who that was ahead. If that was Meeks, I believe that was Meeks who really just took advantage. And as we were saying last week, Brian, Meeks is really just here to pick up the leftovers from these guys. He's taking advantage of everything he can get, and as long as he keeps it clean and keeps it consistent, he's gonna keep moving up in this championship like we saw last week. Obviously, very unlucky for I believe that was Holden. Yeah, and he's just not gonna help out. Super close, obviously, like we saw. But yeah, Meeks obviously there again.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, I'm sure Tyler Meeks is not going to like this, but last season and the seasons I've seen Tyler Meeks race in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, he's usually not the one that survives a lot of times. But it seems like he's a very competent road course racer and just knows that keep my head down and stay alive. Oh, big wiggle there for him. Wow, what a save. Wow, what a save from Tyler Meeks. I mean, that could have ended so terribly. Almost got into that metal barrier on the outside of the last turn there. As we take a look back at this, that was insane to see him keep that thing underneath him.
And I tell you what, Brian, I believe that the commentator curse is real, and the more we talk good about these guys, the more we're gonna jinx them. So Tyler Meeks, sorry for that, but yeah, he's been super consistent. Hopefully he can keep it together here until the end of these races. It seems like Lucido, Boss, Shepard, and Holden all super close together, getting a full train of cars here. If they can keep it clean, hopefully it doesn't bring any of the guys behind them. And obviously points is going to be a super good points. As many points as they can get is going to be super important for these guys. But Holden definitely gonna think that he's a little bit quicker than these guys. As we saw him already fighting for the podium place. He's going to try to make a move down the inside of Shepard. Can he get the draft through here? Seems like Shepard's going to go through on Ball. Can Holden follow through a little bit late in a braking? Are they going to keep it clean? They do, and Ball and Shepard side by side into the final corner. Oh, they get together. Can Shepard keep it clean? He can't. And who is that out? Is that Shepard? Shepard, I believe, still turned around, not going to help him out at all. And he could have collected Pearson there, but yeah, not going to help out Shepard at all. As he was trying to make the move on Ball, I believe, and cannot get it done. Gets a little bit loose. They make contact, I believe, Ball and Shepard, and that just really helps out Holden here.
Well, Holden got a little bit of a hit there on the front end.
That didn't help him out at all either. So Childs, seems like that the triple down of Childs was the one who made up the position on these guys. Seems like he was a little bit further back, but that contact in between them is really going to bring him back into play here for a little bit of more points for him. And I believe, this is another replay. And yeah, very unlucky for Holden. That 59 doesn't help him out at all. But man,
yeah, looks like he. Looks like his front end doesn't look too bad. We have, Brandon Ball, heavy front end damage right now, losing spots to Brad Thacker right now. I think we just had something that just went wrong. course, that is the 17 there. Brandon Ball, heavy front end damage on that machine. As we take a look back and see if we can't see what happened. Of course, we want to give a big shout out to Austin Derbyshire for the awesome camera work. See, it looks like a little bit of contact there
in between Ball and that.
Look at that.
999
That's where the front end damage came from there from Brandon Ball into the 999 of Eli Childs. Kyle Holden also was involved in that. That was kind of a layered cake there.
Yeah. Seems like these guys are still going at it, fighting to get closer up into that 4th place of Lucido. Seems like Lucido really running away with it here now, but yeah, Ball seems like Ball just got loose under braking. They're trying to make a move on Lucido, thinks better of it, tries to go to the outside, loses the truck, and then Shepard and the 999 of Childs get together, and Ball really, definitely a domino effect here. Seems like it was.
100%. Now back to the lead. Nathan Nicholson is out to 5.8 seconds right now, almost 6 seconds on Craig Ganzak. I think he's got it well in hand right now. Now it's come down to 5 laps to go. So if he could just hold it together, I think he's going to be able to win this race. But then again, I mean, road courses, anything can go wrong at any time. I mean, we saw it already. Guys locking the tires up into the braking zone. So I think what he's going to really want to do is try to keep that car underneath him right now. Of course, he has been faster on the longer run than I think Craig Ganzak has been, and I'm wondering why that is. I mean, maybe the damage from Craig got earlier starting to hold him back, you think, or what?
Yeah, definitely. As we were saying before, obviously Nicholson was a little bit quicker on the fresh set of tires. He's very quick off the line. It seems like Ganzak just closing the gap down a little bit now, but yeah, still not. I don't think it's going to be enough to really close that gap down to Nicholson. But yeah, seems like he's just really taking advantage of the restart, and I really don't think the restart really helped out Ganzak that much. Obviously, he slingshot himself in a P1, but couldn't really get it done into the next set of corners, and he really got eaten up by, I believe it was Ball and Meeks later on in turns 2 and 3. So that obviously didn't help him out at all, and really gave Nicholson the chance to really run away with this race.
Yeah, 100%. No, I definitely think that was a huge missed opportunity there when he was coming on one of these straightaways, and unfortunately just didn't work out for him. I mean, but still, if he finishes where he is right now, he's still. We got problems. Nicholson with some issues. We talked about you got to be able to keep it together, and it looks like the 99 has given the 3 a fighting chance. 2.7 seconds now separate first and second place here. Could Ganzak get up there? And usually when you're having problems like that, Caleb, that's not the end of the problems. He's probably going to continue to have problems because once you start sliding those tires, it gets worse and worse.
Yeah, of course, that issue right there obviously not going to help out Nicholson at all, as he is going to degrade those tires, trying to spin them, get them back on track. So that obviously didn't help him out at all. Seems like he got a little bit loose in turn number 1, as we've seen that very often here, Brian. A lot of guys just send a little bit too deep, lock up those brakes, go wide, and really lose the rear of the truck. But yeah, definitely going to bring Craig Ganzak back in with a fighting chance in this race. Obviously, 4 laps to go. Nicholson has to keep it cool, calm, and collected to really finish this race out in the lead. But Craig Ganzak going to have that fire under his belly to try to get the win here tonight.
100%, and we were just talking about, that affecting the tires. I think that there's something else that affects as well. I know, speaking for myself, whenever I'm out here, on any racetrack, if I make a mistake, a lot of times I dwell on that mistake, and that's so easy to do. A lot of racing is mental, and if you start to dwell on that mistake you just made, you're likely to make more of them. So hopefully he's able to kind of move forward, look to the future here, and forget all about that. Just get it to the finish line as we come here to 2 laps to go. Of course, first and second separated by now 3 seconds. Looks like Nathan has somewhat hit the ground running. He's starting to extend that lead once again. So we'll have to wait and see how that kind of works out. Of course, we are, like I said, coming to 2 to go. Before we get there, I do want to give another shout out to one of our sponsors here for the Champion Power Equipment while I do have the chance. Blackstone Management Partners guarantees an unrivaled one-on-one approach to every client, providing them with solutions and services required to keep their dynamic brands thriving and one step ahead of the ever-changing consumer marketplace. Blackstone comprises expertise in marketing, communication, talent management, and event management. Working with their clients, they not only use traditional but state-of-the-art platforms, including mobile marketing, investigative marketing, and cause-driven marketing. Visit them at bsmpartners.com. Just wanted to get that in real quick. That way they don't feel like we neglected them. But, of course, we are coming down to the wire here, Caleb.
Yeah, of course, that Nicholson just really still keeping it consistent here. Obviously, like you were saying before, that's really going to mess up his concentration. Hopefully, he can just really put that behind him. Seems like that 59 will hold it into the pits, and I think that's going to be his race.
Oh, no. And he had such a great race going for himself, had a top 3 machine. Looks like maybe him and he just got loose right behind John Lucido. Oh, hard hit into the metal barrier there.
Yeah, not going to be good for him. Yeah, not going to be good for him. As we were seeing before, he had a top 3 truck here. He was super quick off of the restart, even up in a P3. I think P2, he had passed Meeks at one point. So yeah, but yeah, obviously very unfortunate for Holden, and for the rest of these guys, it's really just going to be finishing this race out. But that's really that crash from Holden's only going to help out Pearson. He is a lap down, but he's going to go into that top 10.
I was just getting ready to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth. I was like, oh, I think we got a problem with Brad Thacker possibly. Oh, more contact. Brad Thacker and George Young. Huge hit as the white flag comes out. Of course, we'll check that out at the in post-race. Nathan Nicholson, though, has taken the white flag. George Young, though, is slow in a portion of the racetrack where the leader's coming through. Looks like he's able to get by cleanly. But watch out. That 48's very damaged, so Craig Genzak's going to have to be really careful not to get into that 48 here as we come through the last couple corners. Brad Thacker's also smoking quite substantially at the moment. And it looks like Nathan Nicholson's able to get by. Brad Thacker takes the access road as he comes through, I do believe, one of the final corners here. And I think Nathan Nicholson very, very close to getting the dub. Of course, we do have another slow driver, I do believe, in front of Nathan here. That is Steven Shepard. Of course, a lot of these drivers, attrition setting in very late here at Watkins Glen. As we come through the final corner, Nathan Nicholson exits onto the front stretch, and he will win at Watkins Glen. What a fantastic performance. Domination. Did make a mistake, but didn't make enough mistakes to really make the difference. Definitely going to be happy, especially Redemption. After last week, not able to get the victory, had one of the fastest trucks last week, and now has shown and has sent a message to everybody in this field that, hey, I'm a good road course racer.
Yeah, it seems like he really had the pace today. What a great drive by Nate Nicholson. Yeah, he really just kept it consistent. The only thing was that little incident. Seems like we're gonna have the replay here of that incident with Thacker. Seems like he got loose, collects ball, and that really, seems like he just collected. Oh, I believe that was a 999 of Childs there. Yeah, that was a 999 of Childs. Really backs it up there, and collects the 48 as well of Young. And I think that's what put all these guys a lap down, and that's what had Thacker smoking there at the end. So, yeah, it seems like all these guys just really came together here towards the end, fighting for position and fighting for points. But, yeah, what a drive by seems like we have another one here. Yeah, it seems like Thacker just tries to get back on track and collects the 48 of Young. Very unfortunate for Young. Seems like he was just a passenger in this incident. But, yeah, what a drive by Nicholson. He really kept it together, had one little mistake, and I think that brought the gap down in 2 seconds, but Janzak just did not have the pace to really close the gap down on Nate Nicholson tonight. And so, yeah, Nicholson, what a drive by you.
100%. Now, of course, we'll go ahead and go through the final results here at Watkins Glen. Nathan Nicholson, your winner. Craig Janzak comes home in the second place position. Tyler Meeks comes home in third. John Lucido comes in fourth. William Mann Jr. fifth. Good finish for him. Sixth place, Steven Shepard. Seventh, Brad Thacker. Eighth, George Young. Ninth, Kyle Holden. Eli Childs comes home in 10th. 11th, Sheldon Pearson. 12th, Brandon Ball. And rounding out this 13-car field is James Harris. And, of course, we'll go ahead and go right on into our post-race show. And we'll talk to our top three, starting with Tyler Meeks. I could find him. Does not look like he's available from what I'm seeing here, so we'll move right on to our second place finisher, Craig Janzak. We got him here in the booth. Of course, Caleb standing by with our second place finisher, Craig Janzak.
Hey, Craig, how are you doing, firstly?
Oh, fantastic! How's the evening? How's the product? What goes on up here in the Grid Vision TV booth?
Nothing much. Just watching you guys really go at it. Obviously, Craig, seems like you had the pace towards the end of the first stint before the competition caution came out. Seemed like you were closing the gap down to Nate Nicholson. Seems like you couldn't just really get it done. So firstly, talk to us about the restart. What happened there? It seems like you just got eaten up by, I believe it was Meeks and Shepard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So the restart there, and thank you for the congrats on the second place finish as well. Nate definitely had the pace. He'll probably if you already interviewed him, I bet he mentioned that Watkins Glen is one of his favorite tracks. If you didn't, I bet he will. I knew he would have the pace. So on the restart, I figured I needed to make a big send, try to get it done, and I popped it from third into second without appropriate rev matching. I got a little wheel hoppy, and that's why he and I made contact there. I was able to clear, but going up the hill, I knew he was going to be able to keep it a little bit more flatter than me just because of all that wheel hop and the heat that I generated unevenly in the rear tires from wheel hopping. And he was able to get the power down and get to my inside there when we were hitting the left-hander at the top of the hill there. And I just got in the marbles and it just wouldn't turn. So I had to basically jam on the brakes to not hit the Armco. So, I had to drop to fourth. And then, I knew that it would be a slow and steady climb. I'd need him to make a couple mistakes. And he made one, but he didn't make two. So we had to settle for second place in what was a really, really fun race.
Yeah, obviously seems like a great drive by you starting from eighth. Seems like you got it all done early on in this race, but I think now would be the time to shout at anybody out if you like to send a message to anybody out there who's watching you or supporting you.
Yeah, I got a lot of support for sure. Firstly, thanks to you guys, Grid Vision TV. You guys have come in quickly here with a good amount of experience, some great commentary, and amazing productions. So kudos to you guys for what you guys do, and thank you for continuing to do it for us. Thanks to Champion Power Equipment as well for the league sponsorship. For me personally, huge thanks to Elite Performance Industries, and in many ways, honestly, Nathan Nicholson as well. He has helped me get better at road courses throughout the last year or so that he's been with Elite Performance Industries, and huge thanks to them as well. Without a doubt, the best group of people, the best community to be a part of. Sorry, I know you guys have your sponsorships too, but Elite Performance Industries, racingpi.com. Thanks to their support of me, and if you guys need a setup or anything out there that's listening, hit us up. All the viewers and everybody that comes out here week to week and races with us, and we try to make it as fun as possible. I think we put on great products, and we'll look forward to next week. I don't remember if next week's Road America or Texas Infield, which either of those options are really, really fun, and I look really forward to it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Craig. And again, congrats on the second place finish today. Obviously, more points for you in this championship.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And I believe our first place finisher, Nate Nicholson, and I think Brian is going to take that for us.
Yeah, actually, I was looking for him. I don't believe he's available for comment. I was actually trying to get him as well, but unfortunately, it looks like he must have had to run to the restroom after that. I'm not sure what's happening, but we definitely want to give him a huge shout out for that victory. And of course, a big shout out to Craig Anzac. And yes, he was right. Next week will be Road America. So that's going to be 15 laps at that long road course. One of the longest road courses, I think, on the NASCAR schedule. So going to be an interesting one for sure. Also, big shout out to Tyler Meeks for, of course, his third place finish. So that's two top threes in a row for him. Going to be some really good points for sure. I do believe Craig Anzac should still be the points leader after this race, but definitely an awesome race at Watkins Glen. I couldn't ask for a better show. Definitely want to give you as well, Caleb, a shout out. Awesome calling the race with you. I know last week we had a couple of hiccups, but I'll tell you what, this week I think went about flawless. Definitely, it helps to have some really good racing product on the racetrack as well. What do you say?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, the racing product that these guys gave us tonight was obviously absolutely amazing. And Brian, absolute pleasure to see you, and pleasure to be working with Austin as well, our producer here tonight. So yeah, obviously from everybody at Grid Vision, we thank you guys for tuning in. And Brian, back to you.
All right, like you said, thanks everybody for tuning in for sure. We couldn't do it without all the people that watch. Also, big shout out to Champion Power Equipment for trusting in Grid Vision to bring the action to all of their friends and family. Of course, with that, it is time to conclude. Of course, we appreciate everybody again. Justin Levine for being a partner here with Grid Vision, Taylor Burris, our producer, Austin Derbyshire, of course, my co-host, Caleb. We definitely appreciate you, of course. My name's Brian Britt, and thank you for listening to the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series on Grid Vision. We'll see you hopefully next week at Road America around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll see you then.